Jennifer. Greetings to all the people joining us virtually and presently in the room. For the record, again, I'm Andrew Lewela. I'm the Chief Evangelist, the CEO at KeNIC. And today, I really want, as is typical African, to tell a story, what we will call a fireside chat about how .ke got here and where we think we will go in the next couple of years. Next slide, please. A good place to start, ladies and gentlemen, is the Africa story. While we have a lot of things in common as African countries, we also have a lot of diversity in the 54 countries on the continent. And the best way to create a segue into Kenya is if today you were to buy a t-shirt and it had the map of Africa on the front and you touched your heart, that will be Kenya. Next slide, please. Africa is also the home to lots of potential. A few statistics, ladies and gentlemen. At 1.4 billion population, in the next 20 years, 1 in 5 people in the world will be from Africa. So growing very fast, just behind India and China. And not only in population, but also in the potential of GDP growth. Potentially, that is how large the African economy will look like, 29 trillion in a couple of years. And we also have a youthful population. 70% of our young people are under the age of 30. So a really futuristic consumer market and labor pool. Next slide, please. Next. So this is how I will characterize Kenya before I get into some of the milestones that have made .ke an up-and-coming registry in Africa. It's the only place, I would say, on earth where you could enjoy a sunrise with the best coffee and the best tea. And by midday, you'll enjoy the big 5 in terms of seeing all the potential animals you'll think about. And by sunset, you'll be standing on the highest freestanding point on earth, on Mount Kilimanjaro, 5,895 meters above sea level, all in under a day. So such diversity, such beauty. Next slide, please. So a few more seconds to just walk through who we are as KeNIC, what we stand for, our why, and how we do what we do. At the very core of our mandate, really, our why, is really to not only promote .ke, but ensure a trusted domain system for all the individuals and businesses within our ecosystem. And this mission has been thought through with our stakeholders, and I'm happy to say we are currently reviewing our 3-year strategic plan, which will breathe life into the next couple of years. And underpinning this mission is our core values: excellence, innovation, and integrity. And we have 4 strategic pillars that give us the tactical opportunity to deliver this around people, which is talent and leadership; technology, which is critical to ensure a secure, reliable, and accessible infrastructure; and partnerships that can deliver value for our registrants. And finally, it's not just about stability and security, but growth and sustainable growth, as it were. Next slide, please. So our story can be summarized as follows, ladies and gentlemen, and especially for the emerging or up-and-coming CCTLDs in Africa or the Global South. So in '98, IANA delegated the mandate to run the KE registry to an administrator who was an individual, supported with a technical resource. And these two gentlemen, for a couple of years, were able to deliver what was then the .ke registry services. But very quickly, the internet community started to emerge around the country. And together with government, it was clear that they were not able to scale the registry services in terms of availability and responsiveness. And so a dialogue emerged, a very robust dialogue on how to institutionalize the registry. And 2001, KeNIC was birthed as a company limited by a guarantee with representation from the public sector and the private sector, so ensuring it is multi-stakeholder. And this ensured that there was a solid foundation on which we are able to rely on to date. In 2015, 2022, and 2023, we also started what I will call thought leadership around the DNS services. We started holding DNS forums, a Kenyan DNS forum, and an Africa-wide DNS forum. I'm happy to say that we have sustained this thought leadership in terms of just sharing what is critical for all our peers around the continent to ensure that we can secure the future for any CCTLD on the continent. And then in 2015, we got some support from the regulator in terms of cementing the role of KeNIC as a licensee to deliver the very unique services that we give as a registry. And I'm also happy to say that that was a watershed moment when we crossed the threshold of 50,000 domains on .ke. Later on, in 2017, two things happened. We not only introduced our second level .ke extensions as part of our service offering, but we also were third on the African continent to have our DNSSEC implemented after South Africa and Tanzania. And 20 years on, ladies and gentlemen, we were able to cross our 100,000 mark in terms of domains. By no means is this where we want to be. We have an ambition to grow this 3x, hopefully 5x in the next couple of years. And hence, the reason why we are sharing this story. We would like to benefit from peers in the room and all over the world in terms of what does it take to then sustain this growth in the medium to long term. Next slide, please. I would like to conclude with some key lessons from this journey that has been .ke, especially for the emerging small CCTLDs across Africa. Number one, do not do this alone. If you are a one or a two-man show, if you're hiding in a university or any of those places where many CCTLDs start, it is time that you brought more people on board. Involve the community around you, involve the global practitioners to help you go faster and further. Build your governance early. I have a board made of 7 members. 4 are sort of our stakeholders and 3 are independent. So at the very onset, oversight is useful for any registry to deliver value. And for heaven's sake, share your story along the way, which is what we are doing today, because only then do you know what you can build on. Suffice to say, ladies and gentlemen, it is critical for you to deliver reliable and secure services to build a world-class infrastructure and architecture with the necessary redundancies to ensure uptime for your services. This is a critical cornerstone for any registry. While there are many business models around a registry, we have the 2R model or the 3R model, we have seen as Kenya, as .ke, that the 3R model works for us. It's a sell-through model with registrars who are our partners and resellers, but we also together support the owner of the domain. So we encourage you to have a clear business model that consistently delivers for the entire ecosystem. And finally, learn from your peers. I appreciate other CCTLD peers who have held our hands along the way, and we continue to work with them to ensure that we can succeed. So those are the key lessons we've picked along the way, and we are here to share that what we have been able to deliver so far, but hopefully pick along other lessons from other peers across the continent and across the world. With those many remarks, I wish to say thank you very much.
Thank you, Andrew. An interesting case study on building a model registry. And now I will open the floor to any questions for Andrew. Or maybe in Zoom.